What is up, guys? Welcome back to everyone's favorite and potentially the only Raid Shadow Legends game show. It is the Wheel of Factions. You can see we've got the wheel here. We're going to be spinning, landing on one of 6 factions. There are 15 factions in the game, so you might be confused if you're a first-time viewer why there's only 6, and that is because we've tested the other 9. These are the 9 factions we have tested, and the results, we'll obviously go over them at the end as well. But if you're unfamiliar and this is your first time, first of all, welcome. You should subscribe to the channel. We make raid content at least 5 times every single week. The Wheel of Factions, we're going to spin the wheel, and let's say it lands on High Elves. We would go to the High Elves that I have in the game and build a Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss team based entirely off of champions I have from that faction. So, and then we will see where they stack up against the other factions that we have tested already. So this is the most exciting part of the video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and spin it to see what faction we're going to be using today. Today we're facing Magic Affinity Clan Boss, so we're looking for Magic and Force champions. As per my example, it is going to be the High Elf faction. We'll go ahead and remove them from the wheel, meaning our next time we are recording, we'll only have 5 possible options. So let's go ahead and brainstorm some of the champions we can use from the High Elf faction. I do not have the Mythical. I do not have Strategos Islan, Incarnate, or Prisma, which is the faction Unity champion. Or no, sorry, that is not the faction Unity champion. I have the faction Unity champion in fyna. So fyna is good for keeping you going fast. She does lots of buffing and some skill cooldowns, so that's definitely interesting. This is your chance to get a free Karato Fox Hunter by clicking the link in the description now. You will get Karato as well as 3 amazing epics, Fane, Ugo, and Vergis. I have 4 simple steps for you to redeem this code. Step 1, log out of Play and Play on your PC and uninstall it. Step 2, click on the link in the description of this video and register with a brand new email address. Step 3, launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Final step, go to your inbox and collect your champions. This is your chance to get a great head start in Raid, so make sure you click on this link. Other champions that come to mind, Bellinor for good damage, decreased defense, and weaken. We have elenaril for HP burns and poisons. Othorion does enemy max HP, but I don't know if he's really what we're looking for. Lenathral's ally attack. I'm trying to think of who else is in here. Tayrel is good support. He's got decreased attack and decreased defense. Vergis has got an ally protect. Let's go ahead and start looking at buffs and debuffs and seeing what we have. So include every one of my vaults. These are the champions I have. I want to start looking at debuffs. Our decreased defense champions, Tayrel, Bellinor, Royal Guard, and then Royal Huntsman as well. Royal Huntsman does hit very, very hard. Weaken champions we have the Arbiter, Ethos, Bellinor again, and Exemplar. We also have Lysanthier Beastbane, who I've pulled recently. Hex, repeating attack, allies devour, that doesn't help us. Decrease speed and weaken, when a 4-turn cooldown. Yeah, he's pretty much a Hydra damage hero, so I don't think we're going to be using Lysanthier today. For poisoners, really it's just elenaril. For HP burners, really it's just elenaril that I have. So elenaril will almost for sure be in the team. Past that, it's just going to have to be hitters. For buffs, increased speed, well, Master Thorium, but he only places on himself, I believe. So Lysandra is an option. Heiress is also an option. She's in a lot of speed tunes. Whether or not we use a regular speed tune depends on whether or not we use fyna is the real thing. Increased defense, we have Tatura, who also does block debuffs, so that's a good option. And then what about ally protection? That one is just Vergis. All right, we've definitely got some options. I think damage is going to be the hardest thing to come by. I feel like elenaril has to be in there. I just have a hard time imagining us doing enough damage without elenaril. We could definitely do a very, very fast team if we did a fyna-based team, because we would get speed and crit rate in all battles. And then every time we get a buff, they get turn meter. I wish we had an ally attacker so they could get 25% more damage. This will be helpful for whoever our leader is. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be tough. We do have 2 fynas. Potentially, we could kind of just try and go crazy with like turn meter stuff if we just did like maybe Tatura as a lead, because both of his abilities are awesome. He's going to attack, plays Perfect Veil and Shield, or he's going to do increased defense and block debuff. So those are solid, and he would just reset those a ton, kind of keeping your team protected, and he can do some damage. And then we would have like Bellinor, Tatura, double fyna, potentially like Arbiter, or potentially like Tayrel, because Tayrel would do decreased attack and decreased defense. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of flesh this out and then build a team. We'll be right back. Okay, we are continuing our theme of basically just going super fast. And so we're gonna be using fyna today. I think she brings too much. Now we are kind of at an impasse or interesting point where fyna has a lead, which is awesome. So 20% ally speed in all battles by ally speed in all battles by 20%. Also crit rate in all battles by 15% for high elves. this would be the best speed lead. But if we are going to do a full auto run, she will choose a champion to block the debuffs, block damage, and counterattack. If it's not herself, it'll reset the skill cooldowns. This is always on auto the lead. So if she puts herself as a lead, she will use this, places the buffs on herself, and not reset her cooldowns. Versus if we put, for example, Tatura Rhymehide as the lead, then she will go in and reset Tatura's skills, which is great for the team. The issue with that is Tatura does not have a good aura. Fyna does. So to get around this, we could manual the run, and that would guarantee our best results, because in that case, I could use this team and put Fyna in the lead, so we get the speed lead and the crit rate, and then manually make sure that she chooses Tatura. Or we can just go with Tatura as the lead, lose our speed and crit rate for everybody, but guarantee that she's going to be resetting his skills. So those are the two options. I think this is the direction we're going to go with, but let me know if that would be allowable. Potentially we come back and do a redo for the high elves. Or we can include that at the end as like a caveat, and if you guys are fine with it, we'll put that as the actual submission when we manual the run. That being said, we built everyone with 100% crit rate. So first up, we have heiress. I put her in a toxic set. Heiress removes a debuff and places increased speed. She's one of the best increased speed champions we have. That's going to be giving us turn meter. So Fyna, really quickly, whenever a buff is placed, fills a turn meter by 3%. Allies deal more damage when attacking out of turn. Whenever a buff is removed or stolen, or when it expires, fills a turn meter by 10%. And then allies ignore 5% of target's defense for each buff on them. So we want a lot of speed and a lot of buffs. She then places increased attack, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, block debuffs, block damage, and counterattack on the one ally, and then just a regular A1. Survival instinct is just whatever. So heiress is going to be placing a buff, helping us go fast. She's also going to be counterattacking whenever an ally is attacked, which will help us place more poisons on the A1. She's got a 5-star phantom touch. Tatura is going to be our lead. He has faultless defense, so he's reflecting increased defense back. He places increased defense and block debuffs on all allies. He attacks and places perfect veil on everyone else and shield on himself, and then just hits on his A1. I did put him in a blood shield, so he's going to be giving that buff to himself. He is built for damage. Everyone's kind of built for damage. Elenaril is our main damage dealer. She's going to have poisons here. 2 poisons if it's critical, which it always should be. And then HP burn on the A1. And then tayrel is built with accuracy and also damage as well. He is, 6-star awaken +4, so that helps. He's going to do decreased attack and decreased defense. Let's go ahead and I will show you the AI next. Here's the AI. I'll also show you the stats here because I didn't show them earlier. Tatura, we're going to prioritize the hit and the perfect veil. And then we're going to use the block debuffs, increased defense. We will open with that one. 243 speed, 7,200 defense, 272 crit damage. Tayrel, we're going to prioritize the decreased defense, and then the decreased attack on his A1. We're going to turn off the A3. It does hit a little bit harder than the A1, but we need decreased attack up a lot. 222 speed, 5,900 defense basically, 336 on the crit damage, 287 on the accuracy. Fyna, pretty fast. She's in the full 9-piece protection, so she's 284, didn't have full crit rate. I don't really care about much else. 85k HP, 4,900 defense. We're going to prioritize the increased attack, crit rate, crit damage, and that gives an extra turn. And then we're going to do block debuffs, the reset on the lead. Tatura next. Heiress, just prioritize this one. She's in the toxic set, so 4,800 attack, 326 on the crit damage. And then elenaril, full damage. She's in merciless, I believe. 3,000 defense, 6,000 attack, 211 on the crit damage, 267 on the accuracy. Her damage will come from poisons on the A1, or HP burns on the A1, poison on the A2. We've turned off the poison activation. There's just no reason for it. That being said, we can go ahead and get into this run again. Let me know, do we think we should put Fyna in the lead? Because I think that is, potentially an issue. Potentially could have turned off the reset right there from Fyna because she just reset Tatura's abilities and he hasn't used any of them. So that could have been an issue, but she will be going very, very fast. She did just place the buffs on herself, which is interesting. I guess it's because Tatura had some of the buffs already. So again, kind of advocating for myself of maybe we should be doing this manually. Okay, she did reset Tatura there. One potential issue with this is I do want him to hit because I didn't want him to just be placing buffs on everyone over and over again. But also I do want him to place block debuffs and increased defense on everybody like that. So you can see how crazy Fyna is going in terms of the turn meter. And she is just constantly lowering the skill cooldowns of Tatura. Like the next time she goes, she's going to have it off of cooldown because it's a 3-turn cooldown, but she gives herself an extra turn. So it's really a 2-turn cooldown. And then she does all of her stuff. But when she places the block like damage on us, that doesn't help us. Versus if we could place the block damage on elenaril, Elenaril would, be protected, obviously, and then she would get her skill cooldowns back. Or we could place her on heiress and get her skill cooldowns back to get increased speed on everybody. So those are all options. Obviously, there's not a ton of actual healing in this team. I thought about bringing in an arbiter instead of my heiress, but I really like her potential with poisons. You can see we've got the debuff bar super full. And I like increased speed as an actual buff because that will help us more. We already have increased attack from fyna, so we don't need it from the arbiter. Hopefully, things will kick in with people like Elenaril where we get Life Drinker, and that will kind of heal us up. So I think this one's going to be super quick, so I'll probably just go ahead and stick with it and watch. The goal is at least 30 million damage, kind of like middle of the pack or lower to middle of the pack. 25 is the lowest, so that's really like the minimum that we're hoping for. And if I'm super disappointed, then I will probably try again with the manual part of this. The sad part about manualing a team like this is it's just like we're taking so many turns, but nobody's doing a ton of damage. So realistically, like that's a lot of clicking that you have to do if you're fully manualing it. And fyna skills are too difficult to like know when I need to click on and let the rest auto. Like it's just not going to happen. I am curious to see if we can keep increased defense up on most of the team. That should help with survivability, and I'm hoping that the faultless defense should help with that, like reflecting some damage, keeping us alive, because we don't have any ally protectors. Typically I put at least one person in a guardian set, but I did not today. So again, Elenaril's first one kind of getting low. I would love to put block damage on her, but currently just not an option. Tatura does do surprisingly good damage though, as I think you guys will come to see. Obviously he's going to be getting like extra turn meter and extra stuff just going on. She did put the block debuff, so the block damage on Tayrel that time. Tayrel just hit for 236, so I think everyone's going to do good damage except for fyna. Fyna is obviously the engine that runs this team, and you can see how many buffs she's placing. I also underestimated how often we'd have increased crit rate. We definitely could have built all of our champions with 70% crit rate. But I didn't take that into account, so that's a potential error on my part. Yet again, I would have put the block damage on Elenaril there, but they put the block damage on Tatura, so this next AoE is probably going to kill her. Yep, Elenaril is dead at 20 million. So without our main poisoner and without our HP burns, can we get to past 20 million? Tayrel does not have Life Drinker on, so that hurts. But he does have block damage, so that would protect him there. Let's place block damage for 2 turns, which is awesome. Tayrel is definitely going to go down soon, so if we're lucky, fyna will put block damage on him again. Probably not, meaning we're down to 3. So this might be a new worst. We'll see how long fyna and Tatura themselves can go. Obviously, heiress is a rare. I wouldn't expect her to survive super long. Perhaps she doesn't have Life Drinker either, so healing is definitely coming into play here. Tatura is great. I don't think he has a shot of carrying this team, past 25, definitely not to 30. Let me pull up the sheet on my other screen. Yeah, 25.8 is our worst, and 105.98 is our best. We might squeeze past the 25.8. We will see. Tatura is also weak affinity, which is funny. Obviously, he's built really well, and he's getting all the benefit of fyna. So that's definitely helping. Can he do enough by himself? He's not going to get any skill cooldowns at this point anymore, but he does buff himself pretty well, and he's got his own little faultless defense. That one hurts right there. So 24.7. Let's go ahead and write it down. So hi, Elves. I'm a little disappointed. 24.74 million. And our best damage was heiress, believe it or not, which makes me a little disappointed with Elenaril. Okay, so here is our updated sheet. The High Elves in last, just behind the Night Revenant faction, like 1 million behind them. Heiress did fine. The team just didn't survive as long. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is manual this run because I'm confident we can get a better result. So I think I might have another key left from clan versus clan. We're going to record this. The real thing I need you guys to do is leave it in the comments, is this fine? Can I submit this for the challenge? Like, this is my own challenge that I've made up, obviously, but at the same time, I want this to make sense and be fair. And if this is the only faction I'm doing it for and that causes an issue for you guys, let me know. That being said, I think the AI is just a little bit too dumb for this to be feasible. And I feel like that we're losing a lot of value and potential damage because they just weren't being very smart. I'm going to go ahead and manual this. I will speed it up because it's going to be super slow. And then I'll come back, once people start dying and stuff like that. Well, it may all be for nothing. We lost decreased attack there for a moment, and pretty much everyone got nuked. Couldn't get our increased defense up in time, so that's kind of that. Lack of healing definitely crushed this team. I think potentially like a tanky Arbiter in here could have been big, because Arbiter could have revived people when they go down. She does provide a little bit of healing when everyone gets below half health, so potentially that's better. But I kind of gave myself like a second chance here with the manual part of this. So I'm not going to give myself a third chance of re-gearing a different champion. I want this to be, you know, a bit of an honor system. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess we'll submit this run just because it's midnight and I'm not going to be submitting another run tonight. So we'll get our key back by tomorrow. I have seen, and I want to look at Tatura's kit. He has a chance to ally attack and I don't know when or why. I kind of want to see why that's happening and when it's happening because that's definitely peculiar. That was stupid. I just ran out of her buffs. So she's dead. Okay. But yeah, Tatura, I think, definitely amazing. Super underrated champion. He is replaceable for Brogni in a lot of just like 3-turn cooldown block debuffs. Obviously not the shield growth part of it. Elenaril did take first here. I think some of that was due to her resets and just me manualing her. So she knew when to do her stuff. But why does Tatura get a chance to ally attack? Flex damage back, chance of freezing. When attacked, reflects 30% of the damage the champion receives back to the attacker. Also has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. None of that is ally attacking. Decrease accuracy on the A1. Perfect Veil, shield. I don't see anything that says he's going to ally attack. Is it a fyna thing? When counterattacking with this skill, teams up with a random ally. That's what it is. So when she places the buffs on herself and counterattacks, someone joins in. Seems like it was Tatura more often than not. So that's what it was. I did notice that the dealing 25% more damage when attacking out of their turn is really cool. For whoever she places the counterattack buff on, and heiress who does counterattacks. This would also pair really well with an ally attacker like elenaril if you have them. So a little bit of a disappointing result for the high elves today. Some of that might be user error on my end, but some of that is just the name of the game. So anyways, thank you guys for sticking out to this long video. Subscribe to the channel for more daily raid content, and I'll see you guys on the next one.